Borneo is the third largest island in the world. On its northern coastline is the British protected Sultanate of Brunei. Labuan is the stopping place of ocean liners bringing visitors to Brunei. The rest of the journey in shallow and dangerous waters has to be made by launch. Brunei is 9 miles upriver, and as the launch nears the town, the British residency stands out high on the right bank. In 1888, internal wars threatened Brunei's existence, and the Sultan asked for British protection. This alliance has been a happy one, and today the Sultanate prospers as a protectorate. Although the population of the state is less than 50,000, and the town little more than 10,000, Brunei's docks are kept busy. The total value of the import and export trade is today over $300 million. 2 years ago it was less than 100 million. And in just over a quarter of a century, the state revenue has risen from $300,000 to over 65 million. The present town of Brunei is an odd mixture of buildings. After the Japanese had been driven out, the main problem was to provide housing as quickly as possible. These makeshift buildings were made of local timber and kajang. Now today, a planned rebuilding program has been worked out. Land is being reclaimed from the river for waterfront buildings and go-downs, and office buildings, cinemas and shop houses are being made of concrete. Soon Brunei will be a modern city. Across the river is the unique village of Kampong Ayer, built out on poles over the water. Pigafetta, the Italian historian who traveled round the world with Magellan in 1521, wrote enthusiastically about this village, with its floating marketplace, its waterways instead of streets, and its picturesque boats. Door-to-door service is carried out by boat peddlers in whose frail craft, packed dangerously brimful, are all the wares the Kampong housewife is likely to need. Though today Brunei is becoming rapidly modernized, its ancient arts and crafts fortunately continue to flourish. Malay women still weave on hand looms their matchless gold and silver threaded sarongs. Straw mats and hats, baskets and bags in rare patterns and colors seldom fail to tempt visitors to Brunei. Silversmiths still use tools centuries old and keep to designs based on early Chinese and Hindu art. Though many of the articles they make are for the modern home. Before history was recorded, Brunei made similar brass gongs to these. Hundreds of years ago, these were the methods used. Most of Brunei's prosperity is due to the oil fields of the British Malayan Petroleum Company at Syria. Already today, only a few years after their first opening, the Syria oil fields are the biggest in the British Commonwealth. This oil company employs more than 5,000 personnel, equal to nearly a quarter of the population of the state. This great oil basin of the East Indies was first tapped in 1929. The wells were extensively damaged by the retreating Japanese, but today they are back in full production, extracting more than 100,000 barrels of oil a day. more than 5 times their pre-war output, providing in royalties for the state a yearly revenue of over $30 million. These oil fields, which feed the rapidly growing use of mechanical power in industry and agriculture, are going to change the whole way of life of Southeast Asia. Brunei is nevertheless conscious of the rapid progress of the modern world and can afford herself to keep up with the times. The social services for so small a country are well planned. A new hospital fitted with the most up-to-date equipment has been built, and doctors and nurses are being brought in from Europe and other training centers. Malaria has been successfully fought, and malnutrition, common after the Japanese occupation, is hardly ever seen. A drive is now being made against tuberculosis, the most deadly enemy of Brunei's health. Mothers are taught the correct way of handling babies. A little knowledge prevents a deal of pain and disease, and already Brunei shows the benefit of this instruction. There is a shortage of school teachers and school books, but new schools are being built, and there is a new determination to make wealthy Brunei's children literate. Like most children, they prefer practical handiwork lessons to bookwork. Needlework appeals to the girls, and it's not difficult to impress on boys the advantages of learning gardening. Even if Brunei's golden age is just around the corner, it would be a pity if these people, naturally gracious, devoted to custom and tradition, were suddenly transformed into the robots of a modern machine city. The people of Brunei are never happier than when taking part in some ancient ceremony. The coronation of their ruler, though lacking much of its past splendor, as with the English, holds a special place in the hearts of the people. It may be difficult to follow some of the ritual, much of which dates back to Chinese and Hindu influence. Further back than memory, the litter bearing the Sultan and his first and second ministers has been carried by 24 strongmen from special families of the Kampong Ayah. None of the great holiday crowds gathered to acclaim their Sultan will easily forget the brightly colored scene. In the Lapau, the Hall of Coronation, is a gesture of the link which binds this court at Brunei to the British Court of Westminster. His Excellency the High Commissioner invested the Sultan with the ancient and honorary companionship of the Order of St. Michael and St. George. And then the simple but dramatic coronation itself. Having taken the crown from the second minister, the first minister places it on the head of the Sultan, now the 28th ruler of the Sultanate of Brunei. Great nobles draw their swords and loudly echo cries of allegiance. Ancient drums beat their tattoo, and the silver trumpets of the Nobat, the royal orchestra, shrill out their salute. The ceremony ends with prayers. Another coronation was over. And then the life of Brunei settled again to its quiet, peaceful temper. The fishermen paddled their time-old boats in the old hard struggle of a fisherman's life. Brunei's craftsmen turn out their peerless work. Only in the great oil fields did the speed of modern life intrude. Deep inside, the heart beats faster as the oil streams forth. Yes, soon peaceful, unassuming Brunei will be very rich. A new life is on its way. Will it challenge Brunei's claim to be known as the abode of peace?